Around 500 BC, an old man climbed onto a water buffalo and rode toward the western border of China. He had served as the royal librarian for decades. He had watched kingdoms rise and crumble. He had seen wise men executed and fools crowned, and he was done. At the border gate, a guard recognized him and refused to let him pass, not out of hostility, but out of desperation. "Please," the guard said, "before you disappear into the wilderness, write down what you know." The old man agreed. He sat down, and in a single sitting he wrote 81 short verses, 5,000 characters, that would become one of the most translated texts in all of human history. His name was Laozi. The text was the Tao Te Ching. And buried inside those 81 verses is the most quietly radical answer to one of the most painful questions a human being can ask. How do you let go of something you cannot stop holding on to? In this video, I want to take you through 3 ideas from the Tao Te Ching. 3 ideas that changed how I understand what it means to hold on and what it means to release. We are going to cover Wu Wei, the art of effortless action, Pu, the uncarved block, and Laozi's most counterintuitive teaching, that empty space is where all power lives. Stay until the end. The 3rd idea is the one that will sit with you longest, and it has almost nothing to do with what you expect. Let me tell you about water. Laozi was obsessed with water. He returns to it again and again throughout the Tao Te Ching, not because it is beautiful, though it is, but because of what it teaches about power. Water does not fight the rock. It does not argue with the riverbank. It does not force itself through obstacles. It goes around. It seeps through. It waits. And given enough time, it hollows out stone. This is Wu Wei, 2 characters in Chinese, Wu Wei, that translate literally as non-doing or effortless action. But that translation misses the depth. Wu Wei is not laziness, it is not passivity, it is not giving up. Wu Wei is the art of moving with reality instead of against it. Think about the last time you tried to force something, a conversation, a relationship, a decision, a feeling you wanted to go away. The harder you pushed, the more resistance you felt. The more you fought the emotion, the stronger it became. The more you rehearsed the argument in your head, the more anxious you grew. That is the opposite of Wu Wei. That is what Laozi would call forcing the river. There is a verse in the Tao Te Ching, chapter 8, that reads, "The highest good is like water. Water benefits 10,000 things and does not compete." Not compete, not strive, not force, benefit, and release. The Tao does not demand credit. The river does not ask to be thanked for reaching the sea. The rain does not negotiate with the soil. It simply moves in the direction of its nature. And in doing so, it shapes the world. Wu Wei asks us to find that direction in our own lives, and to stop exhausting ourselves swimming against the current of what is real. When a master craftsman selects a piece of wood, he does not immediately begin carving. He holds it, he turns it in the light, he studies the grain, he lets the wood tell him what it already wants to become. This is the concept Laozi calls pu and the uncarved block. In its original state, the wood contains infinite potential. It can become a chair, a door, a boat, a flute. The moment you make the first cut, you commit, and all other possibilities fall away. Laozi believed the same was true of human beings. We begin life as the uncarved block, open, curious, responsive, whole. And then the world begins carving. Our families carve us, our failures carve us, our successes carve us. Sometimes more dangerously, our beliefs about who we are supposed to be carve us so deeply that eventually we forget the original shape of the wood. Letting go in the Taoist sense is not about losing something. It is about returning to the uncarved block, returning to the state before the story you tell about yourself became fixed, before the identity you carry became a cage. There is a famous exchange in the Zhuangzi, the companion text to the Tao Te Ching. A student asks his teacher, "How do I become free?" The teacher says nothing for a long time. Then he says, "What is it that is not free?" That question undoes you if you sit with it honestly, because most of what holds us is not external. It is the story, the carved version of ourselves we mistake for the whole truth. Pu does not ask you to become someone different. It asks you to become less fixed, to hold your identity more loosely, the way the craftsman holds the wood before the first cut. Not empty, just open. Here is the idea that most people dismiss the first time they hear it, and then cannot stop thinking about. Chapter 11 of the Tao Te Ching. Laozi writes, 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful, shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows for a room. It is the holes which make it useful. Therefore, profit comes from what is there. Usefulness from what is not there. Read that again slowly in your mind. Usefulness from what is not there. A cup without emptiness cannot hold water. A room without space cannot hold life. A wheel without the hollow center cannot turn. Laozi is making a radical claim about what we usually call letting go. We frame letting go as loss, as failure, as weakness. We treat it as the thing we do when we have no other choice. But Laozi says, the emptiness is not what remains after something is gone. The emptiness is what makes everything else possible. Think about a conversation where you genuinely listened, truly listened, without planning your next sentence, without defending yourself, without waiting for your turn. That quality of listening is only possible when you empty yourself of the need to be right, to be heard, to be understood. The emptiness is not a deficit. It is what makes genuine connection possible at all. Or think about sleep. The one thing every exhausted person desperately needs but cannot force. You cannot will yourself to sleep. You can only create the conditions, the darkness, the stillness, the letting go of the day, and sleep comes. Wu Wei again, the emptiness again. Laozi is not telling you to become nothing. He is telling you that the things you cling to most desperately, your certainty, your control, your fixed sense of who you are precisely what prevent you from receiving what life is trying to give you. Letting go is not the end of something. It is the creation of space for something you cannot yet imagine. The Tao Te Ching is 5,000 characters long. Nobody knows exactly when it was written. Nobody knows with certainty if Laozi was a single person or a name given to many voices over many centuries. And somehow, that only makes it more true. Because the Tao is not a philosophy that asks you to believe in it, it asks you to notice it. Notice the water, notice the grain of the wood, notice the silence in the room after a difficult conversation ends. The way the air feels lighter, the way something resolves when you stop trying to resolve it. Wu Wei, Pu, the usefulness of emptiness. 3 ways of saying the same thing. The tighter your grip, the less you hold. The more you release, the more remains. If there is one thing I want you to do after this video, just one, it is this. Find one thing you are holding too tightly right now. A relationship, an outcome, an opinion, a version of yourself you have outgrown. You already know what it is. And ask yourself, not, how do I let it go? But what would become possible if I did? That question is Wu Wei. That question is the uncarved block. That question is the empty center of the wheel. Next week, we are going into ancient Greece. Socrates, the man who claimed to know nothing, and how that single claim changed the course of Western philosophy. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if this video reached someone who needed it today, please share it. That is the highest compliment you can give any idea. I will see you in the next one.